1923 star Brandon Sklenar's next dark and twisted project is worlds away from Yellowstone prequel. Yellowstone prequel 1923 has now come to an end with fans still in mourning as Alex, played by Julia Schlapfer, and Spencer Dutton's Brandon Sklenar, fate was sealed. Brandon quickly became a fan-favorite character in the series, and viewers have been keen to find out what the 34-year-old star is up to next. His upcoming project is called The Housemaid, a psychological thriller based on the 2022 novel of the same name by Frida McFadden. The movie boasts a stellar cast, with Sydney Sweeney as housemaid Millie and Amanda Seyfried as Nina, the wife of Sklenar's character Andrew. Michelle Morone has also been cast as Enzo in the film, which is scheduled for a U.S. release on Christmas Day 2025. Filming officially wrapped in March this year, with the main cast appearing at CinemaCon in April to promote the movie. The film follows Millie Sweeney, a struggling young woman who is given a fresh start as a housemaid to Nina, Seyfried, and Andrew, Sklenar, a wealthy upscale couple. She soon learns that the family's secrets are far more dangerous than her own, and they all appear to have blood on their hands. Sklenar teased his new project during a chat to Variety at the Vanity Fair Oscars party, saying, "It's very dark, dramatic, and twisted." He described his character Andrew as Norman Bates meets Patrick Bateman. "It's not gory, but it's twisted. It's up there for sure," he added. "I am a little unhinged. You very rarely get the opportunity to just let the cat out of the bag." The film is directed by Paul Feig and written by Rebecca Sonnenschein. Sklenar can also be seen in the recently released film drop about a widowed mother, Violet, who receives threatening messages during her first date in years. The star plays as Henry Campbell, Violet's date. After captivating audiences as Spencer Dutton in Taylor Sheridan's gritty 1923, Brandon Sklenar is shedding the wide-brimmed hat and dusty boots for something far more disturbing. The actor is taking a sharp left turn in his next project, a psychological thriller titled The Mirror House, a dark, twisted tale that trades the open plains of Montana for the claustrophobic corridors of a remote psychiatric facility. Described by insiders as a cross between Shutter Island and Black Mirror, The Mirror House promises to be a bold departure for Sklenar, who has quickly become known for his rugged intensity and raw emotional performances. But in this role, he's not the heroic cowboy fighting for family and legacy. He's the unreliable narrator of his own unraveling mind. The plot that twists reality. In The Mirror House, Sklenar plays Elias Granger, a once celebrated investigative journalist who disappeared without a trace 5 years ago, while working on an exposé about a controversial experimental psychiatric program known as Project Nocturne. When he mysteriously reappears, wandering the streets of Berlin barefoot and incoherent, authorities quickly realize something is very wrong. The film opens with Elias waking up in a stark, white-walled hospital room with no memory of the past 5 years. His face is scared, his voice is hoarse, and every mirror in the facility has been removed. As therapists attempt to help him piece together his memories, Elias begins experiencing vivid, disjointed flashbacks. A decaying mansion in the woods, a woman whispering riddles through a wall, a series of red doors that appear and vanish without warning. As Elias slowly regains fragments of memory, he begins to suspect that the psychiatric hospital is not what it seems, and neither is he. The deeper he digs, the more he's haunted by an unsettling idea. What if he's not a patient at all, but part of an experiment still in progress? Brandon Sklenar's transformation. Gone are the stoic gazes and windswept landscapes. In The Mirror House, Sklenar trades his cowboy charm for paranoia and grit. Sources close to the production say the actor underwent intense preparation for the role, including spending time with former patients of long-abandoned asylums and researching sleep deprivation, dissociative identity disorder, and false memory syndrome. He's pushing himself to a place we haven't seen before, says director Anya Renslow, an up-and-coming auteur known for her cerebral, avant-garde storytelling. Elias isn't a hero. He's not even necessarily a good man. He's fractured. He's desperate. And Brandon understood the assignment completely. He disappears into this character. Physically, Sklenar's transformation is just as shocking. Gone is the well-groomed frontier man of 1923. In the Mirror House, his Elias is gaunt, pale, and often barefoot. A man haunted by something no one else can see. Makeup artists used a mix of practical effects and subtle prosthetics to show the progression of Elias's mental decay over the course of the film. It's like watching a man argue with his own reflection, says co-star Sanna Marks, who plays Dr. Astrid Voller, the cryptic psychiatrist assigned to Elias's case. You never really know if what he's seeing is real, or if we're all just figments of his psychosis. A genre shift that's paying off. Some fans of Sklenar's work in 1923 may be surprised, or even unsettled, by the dramatic genre shift. But the actor has made it clear, he's not interested in being typecast. "I love what we built with 1923, Sklenar said during a recent panel at SXSO, where an exclusive teaser for the Mirror House was shown. But I don't want to keep playing versions of the same man. Elias is raw and terrifying. He's everything Spencer Dutton isn't. And that's what drew me to him." Early buzz around the Mirror House is overwhelmingly positive. Critics who attended the early screening described it as Lynchian, claustrophobic, and beautifully disorienting. The cinematography plays heavily with mirrors, glass, and visual distortions, inviting viewers to question what's real and what's manufactured within Elias's fragile mind. A story about memory, manipulation, and madness. While the Mirror House flirts with horror, it's ultimately a story about identity and manipulation. It explores the limits of memory, the ethics of psychological experimentation, and the terrifying idea that our sense of self can be rewritten, not just by trauma, but by design. At the core of the film is a question that lingers long after the credits roll. If you can't trust your own memories, how do you know who you really are? I was fascinated by the idea that someone could be convinced they're someone else entirely, says writer and producer Caleb Thorne. Elias's journey isn't just about uncovering a conspiracy. It's about questioning the very foundation of his reality. Brandon nailed that delicate balance between vulnerability and volatility. What's next for Sklenar? Following the intense production schedule and emotional weight of the Mirror House, Sklenar is reportedly taking some time off before returning to a more action-oriented role in a dystopian sci-fi series slated for 2026. But for now, he's reveling in the opportunity to explore the darkest corners of his craft. "This was the most psychologically demanding role I've ever taken," Sklenar admitted. "But it was also the most rewarding. I walked away from this project with more questions than answers, and I think that's exactly what it's meant to do." Whether fans embrace this new side of Brandon Sklenar remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The man who once rode through the savannas of Africa with a rifle slung over his shoulder is now leading audiences into a far murkier, more cerebral terrain, and he's not looking back. If you'd like a follow-up piece on fan reactions or a behind-the-scenes deep dive into the production design of the Mirror House, just let me know.